Have you ever felt that moment? When the world suddenly stops, and all eyes turn toward one person? What if I told you that in 2025 that person is Kim Taehyung? Yes, Taehyung, BTS's V, has just been crowned by global media as the global media leader of 2025. HYBE never saw it coming. The industry didn't prepare for it, but the world chose him. So stay with me, because this is not just a story about fame. This is about destiny, about struggle, about the boy who became a voice for millions. And if you believe Taehyung's journey deserves to be remembered, subscribe now. Because together, we're making history echo louder. The headlines that shook the industry. It was early morning in Seoul when the first headlines broke. The words were so big, so bold, that even fans blinked twice to make sure they weren't dreaming. Global media recognizes Kim Taehyung as the leader of 2025. Within minutes, the news exploded worldwide. BBC, Rolling Stone, Forbes, The Guardian. Every outlet had the same story. HYBE, who had always carefully planned the narrative around BTS, was caught off guard. This wasn't their announcement. This wasn't part of any press release. This was bigger. It was the world's recognition. And in that single moment, everything changed. Boy from Daegu. But to understand why this shook the world, you have to go back. Back to a small city in South Korea. Back to a boy named Kim Taehyung. He wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the richest. He wasn't the most connected. But he was different. As a child, Taehyung had an unusual gift. He listened. He listened to music, to people, to the small details others ignored. He noticed the quiet pain in someone's eyes, the joy in their laughter, the loneliness behind their smiles. And because he listened so deeply, when he finally spoke, people felt something. That boy from Daegu didn't know it yet, but the very gift that made him feel different, his empathy, would someday make him the most influential voice on earth. The idol who wasn't just an idol. When Taehyung joined BTS, the world quickly labeled him the visual, the handsome one, the mysterious one. But Taehyung knew he was more. Yes, he was striking on stage. Yes, he could silence a stadium with one glance. But behind the spotlight, he was quietly building something else. Through his music, his interviews, his art, he started speaking not just to fans but to humanity. He wasn't afraid to admit when he was struggling. He wasn't afraid to cry. He wasn't afraid to say, "I'm human too." And that's when the shift began. Taehyung wasn't just an idol anymore. He was becoming a leader of hearts. Early surprise. HYBE knew Taehyung was popular. They knew he was adored. But they didn't expect this. For years, entertainment companies shaped idols to fit an image. Perfect, polished, untouchable. But Taehyung broke that mold. He laughed awkwardly in interviews. He made mistakes and owned them. He showed his unfiltered self on live streams. And guess what? The world loved him more because of it. HYBE's strategy was shaken. Because Taehyung wasn't just following the system. He was rewriting it. When his words became movements, there's a moment fans will never forget. During a global interview, Taehyung spoke about mental health. Not as a spokesperson, but as someone who truly understood. He said, "It's okay to not be okay. What matters is that we keep walking, even if it's slow." Those words, they didn't just trend. They sparked mental health discussions in schools. They were quoted in therapy sessions. They were written on posters at rallies. It was no longer just about music. It was about survival. It was about hope. And suddenly, media outlets realized this young man wasn't just entertaining. He was leading conversations. The crown that no one expected. And so, in 2025 it happened. A historic declaration. Kim Taehyung is officially recognized as the global media leader of the year. This wasn't given by a single magazine. This wasn't awarded by a single award show. It was a recognition signed by multiple media organizations across continents. Why? Because Taehyung didn't just influence entertainment. He influenced culture. He influenced education. He influenced how the world talks about love, identity, and healing. And in that moment, the boy from Daegu had become a global compass. The fans who carried him. But here's something the media didn't say out loud. This victory wasn't his alone. It belonged to the fans, the army, who never stopped amplifying his voice. When he whispered, you turned it into a roar. When he stumbled, you lifted him. When he dreamed, you dreamed with him. It was a partnership, a love story between an artist and millions who believed in him. So when Taehyung held that title, it wasn't just his crown, it was yours too. The meaning behind the title. But let's pause. What does it actually mean to be the global media leader of 2025? It means that in a time when headlines are chaotic, when social media feels overwhelming, one voice rises above the noise. A voice that unites instead of divides. A voice that heals instead of hurts. It means Taehyung isn't just shaping trends. He's shaping conversations. He's shaping hearts. And that's something no company, no strategy, no PR machine could ever manufacture. Because true leadership can't be faked. Message to you. So let me ask you this. What about your voice? Yes, you listening right now. Are you holding back your truth? Are you afraid no one will listen? Because if Taehyung's story teaches us anything, it's this. The world doesn't wait for permission. The world listens the moment you decide to speak. And if a boy from Daegu could rise to become the leader of global media, then maybe your story, your words, your truth could change the world too. The ending that feels like a beginning. And so here we are, 2025. Taehyung, once just a dreamer, is now the man the world recognizes as the global media leader. HYBE never planned it. The industry never predicted it. But destiny made it so. This is not the end of his story. It's just the beginning of something much greater. And for us, the fans, the listeners, the dreamers, this is our reminder. A bond beyond the stage. Never underestimate Taehyung and Jungkook have always shared a unique never bond. Silence the voice from the earliest days of BTS, when they were still rookies trying to figure out the world, to now, global icons, can make the world they've leaned on each other in ways fans often notice. Words. The gym sighting wasn't just about muscles or training. It was about trust. Think about it. When you work out with someone, you're sharing your vulnerability. You're sweaty, you're pushing limits. You're failing and trying again. That's not something you share with just anyone. So ARMY saw more than two idols at the gym. We saw two brothers, two dreamers, two artists who know that their journeys are intertwined. The silent message. Now here's the deeper layer.